Hi Archie, good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. How are you finding lockdown and being stuck at home?
Yeah, I've managed to find a bit of a routine now, so a bit more settled. It's still all obviously very strange and unusual, but managed to find that routine now, so I'm doing okay. How about you?
Yeah, it's been alright. Quite a similar thing. I've been playing squash every day now. If it wasn't for quarantine, so it's a bit weird not being able to do that. But you start to get used to it. I mean, I've been in lockdown for 6 weeks now, nearly. So it's been a while, so I've started to get used to it. But that's why I'm doing stuff like this, so recordings and entertainment for people at home watching. When you look back at your time as a junior, what aspect did you prefer the most? The matches, the training, the spending time with friends?
Probably the matches the most. I think uh, I enjoyed actually my training as well. We had a really good kind of group. There's sort of me and about four or five boys of similar age at my club, and we were all kind of similar standards, so we kind of pushed each other along, and that was really good. But I think once I got the kind of bug for the tournaments and the matches, that was what I was absolutely loving. Even though I wasn't the best junior to start with at all, but I just enjoyed that atmosphere and environment at the events. I think
Mm-hmm.
started playing when I was kind of about 4 or 5, and just used to play. Well, start with probably once a week, and then started playing a couple of times a week. I was playing tennis a couple of times a week as well. But I didn't start playing any tournaments till I think I was about 11, and then I started playing a little bit more. So um, probably three times a week I was playing, and then it obviously got a bit more as I got older as well.
When did you realise you were really talented at sport?
I kind of like enjoyed learning how to hit the ball and
Mm.
learning how to kind of manipulate that to make the ball go where you wanted to go, and also to make it so your opponent didn't know where it was going. The kind of moment that really sticks in my head when I thought, I could do okay on a national level in
Mm.
juniors, was probably when I was 14. I think I got to the semi-finals of the British Championships, I think.
Mm.
Before then, I'd not really done that well on kind of a national level, so that was kind of a bit of a eye-opening result, that one.
What if you took two juniors with the same talent and based one in Egypt and one in the UK? Do you think one would get further than the other with their talent?
That's an interesting question. Extremely good players coming out of Egypt, um, but there's a lot of very good players and coaches in England. So I
Mm-hmm.
think there's not a need to go to Egypt. So, but if you're Egyptian, there's not necessarily a need to come to England either, if
Mm.
if that suits you. But there's some very good coaches, with some good ideas in Egypt at the moment. So I mean, I can't really answer the question definitively, but I think they could, if they got the talent and the right mentality, then I think they would thrive in either setting.
So moving away from your junior career now and more on the professional side of things, when did you first think about becoming a professional squash player?
Having some knee problems since I was about 15,
Mm.
which were kind of chronic by that point. And with the sports doctor, it's kind of like, oh, we're not sure how much we can actually do to improve it, like with any specific treatments. So I was kind of a little bit like, oh, I don't know if my body would actually cope with being professional. So I kind of put it on the back burner and went off to university. And then in my final year at university, I actually decided, I didn't want to get a job like everyone else was doing
Mm.
around me at university, and I did get a job, but I just didn't actually sign the contract and start it, and decided I was going to play squash instead,
Fair enough.
which is about a week before my final exams was when I decided.
Well, you made the right decision.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. What was your hardest ever physical squash match?
That's a good question. I've had a few brutal ones over the years. I've had a few with Tesney Evans that have been very, very long and brutal. I think I've got a couple that spring to mind against Emma Beddoes actually a few years ago. The one I'm thinking of, I think, was the final of a $10,000 event in Chorley in Lancashire, and I was in bits at the end. I had horrible blisters on my feet already before the start of the match, and Emma was cramping at the end of the match, and I still didn't manage to win even though she was cramping. So, but I think it was about 96 minutes of pain or something. Every rally with Emma was, you knew it was going to have, she was just going to keep just gritting the ball back. That was what kind of player she was, so you knew it was going to be hard.
What's been the match where you feel you've played your best squash?
There's only a few matches where you played and you didn't think for the whole match and you just played on autopilot, and those are generally like the best ones. One of the best ones I've ever played, I actually lost against Raneem, and it was in Saudi Arabia, so it wasn't being filmed, so no one can ever see that one. But again, when I played Raneem in the final in San Francisco, I think that's got to be right up there as well, I think.
What were the scores? Do you remember?
I lost 3-2 in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, wicked.
And I think 3-2. Could have been 3-1. I think it was 3-2 though. And I won 3-2 in San Francisco.
What is the area of the game you have worked on the most?
I think the area of the game I've worked on most completely over the last 10 years is probably my movement. Like I said before, I started with almost how to hit the ball, and we've done a bit with my swing over the last few years since I moved coaches, but a lot of the work has been done on my movement and trying to make it more efficient and be able to kind of react to twisting and turning, because that's generally what the players try to do to me. So if I can absorb that better and get more chances to attack, and just attacking more, letting myself attack, that's the main one we like to work on.
Who do you least like playing on tour?
She's retired now, so I can probably say Victoria Lust. We're very good friends off court, but we don't have particularly fun matches on court. Yeah. We just add movement patterns clash, add styles clash. Like I said, we've been playing since we were sort of 13 years old, so there's a whole catalogue of backstory and bad matches and things behind it. So I will miss her. I'll miss her dearly on tour, and we will stay great friends, but we won't miss playing each other.
Who is the worst squash roomie?
Again with Victoria Lust, because like most of the time absolutely perfect, but every morning, no matter what time she's getting up, has to have a shower, wash her hair and get the hairdryer out. So if she's got a 7 a.m. flight, then you're not getting much sleep that night.
Yeah. If you could accidentally hit one player with a squash ball, which player would it be and why?
Does my brother count? He still plays at the club.
Yeah.
But I felt that for most of my junior career, we're training with him. He was one of the ones I was talking about earlier, and we had to be removed off court a few times. We probably fired the ball at each other on purpose a few times before.
Which player on tour is most likely to forget to book their flight home?
Joelle King never has one until she needs to go and get a flight home.
Currently PSA's women's president. What does that involve?
So basically it means that I'm one of the player representatives on the board. so we have a male and female president who both sit on the board for PSA. So we're there to represent the players and ensure that the players' best interests are looked at for the tour, and that their views and things are heard as well, and sort of a point of contact between the tour organisers, the management, and the players. So if the players have any concerns and things, then they can kind of come to us, and we can collate them all and pass them all on.
Okay, cool. So what 3 changes would you make to the women's game?
I think for me personally, I think for the sake of squash, I think the refereeing needs to be made professional. We need to pay the referees more so that it becomes an actual career, and then there's more referees and they can be kind of kept to accountable to a higher level. Basically, I think there's some action going towards that direction. There's a platform being launched for referees and things, so even referees that necessarily aren't normally in the clique or in contact all the time can actually have access to all the same resources, which is going to be great. That's one. I think we've got to sort of I would highlight and champion the players a bit more, whether it's from themselves or by their sponsors or by PSA or by any sort of means, really. I think just kind of showcasing squash has some of the best kind of athletes in the world and some amazing content to be shown, and I think that more and more of that's getting out there now, which is great. And I think I would really love to see more of the kind of the female players kind of utilised because they I'm not going to lie, I think the females have got generally have some more personality than some of the men, so I think there's more personality to be shown to the world. I think the third one would just to be, I think it will probably happen at some stage, but I think there's a bit of disparity between the men and the women with the structure of the platinum tournaments, with how many players are seeded, and that ends up, some people then think the men's draw is more exciting because they get some more exciting matches earlier on, which would traditionally have been, say, like a last 16 now moves to a last 32, so and then it makes it almost more exciting, and the promoters can use that and things. And although I might not personally agree with that format, I think it would just be better if they were both the same. So we'll see if the women move to that sort of thing at some point as well. So it's A, equal, but B, the promoters have got those exciting matches earlier on too.
Are you happy with the level of England's women squash players?
We've obviously just come to the end really of like the golden generation, as it was sort of named, of so we've had now retire, we've had Laura retire, we've had Jenny retire, we've had Sarah Kippax retire too, and Alison's still hanging in there. She's still playing to a decent level. 5 or 6 players who were a couple who were in and out of the top 20, and 4 who were consistently in that top 20. So to then now there's 2 of us in the top 20, maybe 3. I'm not sure where Millie is right now, but there's those players a bit further down. There's quite a few youngsters coming up that are looking really, really promising. Like I train with Jazz Hutton a bit, and she's absolutely come on loads in the last year. And Lucy Tamal's doing some good things as well. And I mean, I'm excited to see Gina Kennedy when she's finished college, which I think is maybe now due to COVID-19. And and see how she fares on tour. She's a great athlete and has done fantastically well at college over there, so she'll be a sort of great addition to the setup. So I think it's pretty. Although it looks like the standard overall's gone down, I think there's just that golden generation have retired, and we need the youngsters now to step up and take their space. It's there and waiting. They just got to go and grab it.
If you had to pick 3 squash players to handle our Olympic application, who would they be?
I think Nicole David still is the biggest kind of profile in squash, and has done so much for the game and advocates the game on every level, better than anyone else ever has done. Rami's a very different character, but he's still he's kind of, he adds the air of mystery, because you never know what he's thinking, and kind of, but I think the excitement and the artistry and things that he brings to the game. My third choice would probably be someone like Amanda Sobey. That America's such a big player in every world organisation, and Amanda won't mind me saying she's got such a big, loud voice, and she likes to advocate and talk for things. So I think she'd be a good addition too.
Which sports person do you admire the most?
There's a lot of very inspirational people in sport, and I think the power of social media now, you're getting to hear more and more of their kind of stories, which is great. And actually, like some of the people, so on an actual sports person for their career point of view, I think Serena Williams has always been right up there for me. She's always kind of done it her way, and some people don't enjoy the tennis she plays, but she doesn't care. She goes out there, focuses the best she can that day, and does her job as best she can. But from a kind of sport in general level, I think more recently, I think I've got a lot of respect for people like Alex Scott, that have gone into roles that she had an extremely good football career, but she's gone into a role now as that is very male dominated, that is very publicly seen as male dominated. So, and she's had to work really hard to get there and almost be twice as good as anyone else to actually get those roles, but she's persisted, and she's kind of helped pave the way for other women in sports commentary and punditing and things like that. And I think so I think that's great, and I think it needs to be kind of like you said before, how do you encourage more women to play squash? How they see women playing squash, they want to play. And I think that's the same for kind of across the board in all aspects of sport. So I think Alex Scott will be up there too.
So moving away from squash now and talking more about your personality and getting more into you. If you could invite 3 people to a dinner party, past or present, who would they be and why?
Serena Williams, and then I think the other two. Who else would the other two be? I think I would definitely. I'm trying to think which one, but I mean, if you're having a dinner party, you've got to have a really, really good chef there for a start. And as I get older, I'm like enjoying learning about cooking food more and more, and fine dining and things like that. So probably someone like Heston Blumenthal or Tom Kerridge or someone like that creates some pretty out there awesome food. I'll probably go with Tom Kerridge because he seems really fun as well. Third one, who else would we invite? I like my music and stuff as well, and also kind of like people who advocate for other people than themselves and things like that. So I think I think pink would be really awesome as well to have at my dinner party. I think that's quite an eclectic mix right there. So that's my 3.
Fire round. So you're only allowed to answer yes, no, or no comment.
Okay.
Have you ever thought about becoming a squash coach?
Thought about it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever had an argument with a PSA player off court?
No.
Have you ever smashed a racket?
Yes.
Have you ever hoped another player loses a squash match so you don't have to play them in the next round?
Yes.
Now, we're going to do a similar thing, but instead of asking you a question based on anything, I'm going to give you 5 squash players' names, and you have to give me one word to describe them best.
Okay.
Alright, so Raneem El-Walili.
Skillful.
Alison Waters.
Forehand volley.
Lauren Rosario.
Tenacious.
Nicole David.
Legend.
And Camille Serm. What
Physical.
do you take from them? Forehand, backhand, serve, momentum, mentality, nicks/winners.
From those players or from anyone?
From anyone, for yourself to become the perfect squash player.
Okay. I think I'd probably try and think. I think you've got to start with, like, you know, low tenacity. You know, I'm just going to start with some stuff from those players because there's some great players. Like Laura's tenacity, some like the gracefulness of Nicole at all times, on court and off court. Raneem's defence, and probably Camille's lateral movement across the court to volley.
Yeah.
And what's like Shabini's cross court nicks, and maybe Gohar's kill.
If you could have a chat with Junior Sarah, what would you say?
Enjoy how you're going to play. Like, find a way to do some training that you enjoy. That isn't so completely horrible. But just enjoy it. Actually, maybe because I didn't do that much when I was a junior means I've got a bit of capacity now. But just keep enjoying playing, because that's why I still play now, because I enjoyed it, and I still enjoy playing now. There's plenty of juniors who get to the end and don't enjoy playing, which is a massive shame. So I would tell myself to keep enjoying it.
Now, finally, to finish off, I've been bombarding you with loads of different questions. So is there one question you would like to ask me?
What's the reason you would like to do these? Is there someone that is there a sports commentator, reporter, or someone that you kind of look up to?
What? So these interviews?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I've for quite a while now, I've wanted to do something in social media, and I've wanted to become a content creator, and deliver a message to people, whether it be don't give up so easily, don't tell yourself you can't when you can, and stuff like that. And these interviews are just the beginning. I want to base it on loads of different things and not just do it on the interviews. I've really enjoyed filming these because I love squash, and it's really interesting to hear from you guys, and hopefully interesting for the people at home watching. But I have a good knowledge base in squash with the people I know, like yourself, as I've got in contact with you for this interview and things like that. So I wanted to start off with this because I think it would be a good thing to kick off my YouTube, if it were, and my social media as a whole.
Yeah, that's great. That's really interesting. Good to know people sort of where they're at and where they're trying to go, and just what makes them them and what they enjoy. So that's really interesting to hear.
So that is the end of the interview. Thanks so much for everyone at home for watching, and thank you so much, Sarah, for joining me today. For everyone at home watching, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and give me a comment on why you liked the video. Sarah's socials will be in the link in the description, and thanks so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.